away those chains and remember your own name. Let your star shine bright, yeah. Don't be ashamed. So come on, spread your wings. Let that child inside be seen. Raise up your voice. This is a moment to rejoice. Now let me hear you sing. You're the son of kings. You're the child of Joseph's dreams, and you were born to royalty and honor. You're the daughter of queens, you're Queen Esther's legacy, and you were born of dignity and valor. And they can never take your crown. No, they can never take your crown. They can never bring you down. Oh, they can never take your crown. You are princes among men in the service of Hashem. It's a bond that never ends, no. And thank God for that. You are princes among men in the service of Hashem. It's a love that never ends, no. And thank God for that, 'cause
The sons of kings, I'm the child of Joseph's dreams, and we were born to royalty and honor.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Mindful Monday on Tuesday. For those of you who've been with us for a while, if you remember, our first Mindful Monday, we emphasize and stress something very important. We are not perfect. We are not trying to be perfect. We make mistakes. And tonight is a perfect example of that. Mindful Monday on Tuesday. That is correct. We are still the Mindful Monday concept. However, it is Tuesday. And for the month of May, for personal reasons, we are going to have Mindful Mondays on Tuesday. And then we'll see about in June. We'll get there when we get there. But I want to welcome everybody who's here. I want to welcome everybody who has been with us for a while. Tonight's topic is about happiness. A very interesting topic, something that we're not going to complete tonight, but we're going to start a series about happiness. A very interesting topic. We obviously, as you know, for those of you who follow us, those of you who are familiar with how we do things, that we're not going to take anything for face value. No, sir. That is not how we do things at Ascent. We go deeper. We dive deep. We get a deeper understanding, and we're excited, really excited. I'm excited about this topic. I think it's a great topic, and it has a tremendous impact on everything that we do in life. I do believe that. However, in order for it to work, there is some work that you are going to have to do through tonight and also down the road. So I hope that you all brought some pens and paper or somewhere to write some things, either to take notes. There are going to be some questions and answers that you're going to want to partake in. A very exciting topic. We're going to do things slightly different than we do in other nights. So let's talk about happiness. The first question is, what is happiness? What is happiness? A very interesting thing. Is it really that important? Is it? And of course, I'm assuming that everybody here wants happiness. That could be an assumption that I'm wrong about. And I'm going to read to you what AI, you've all heard about AI, what AI says happiness is. Happiness is a complex state of well-being characterized by positive emotions like joy, satisfaction, and contentment. It's often associated with positive life experiences, achieving goals, strong relationships, and finding meaning and purpose. Research suggests that happiness is a multifaceted construct with both internal and external factors influencing it. And we're obviously going to get into that we're going to come to some deeper comprehension and deeper understanding of what happiness is. So the first thing is, like I said, I'm assuming that you want happiness. And what is happiness for you? For some people, as strange as it may seem, happiness is sadness. There are people who thrive and enjoy, and I'm not criticizing, and I'm not saying it's something bad. In fact, Brene Brown, she's a theorist, a psychologist, and she has spent her life researching and focusing on shame. And she talks about this feeling of sadness, having like a good cry. Anybody ever had like a really good cry? Maybe you heard a very sad story, or maybe you read a sad book. Maybe you watched a movie or something that was what we call a tear-jerking movie or a tear-jerking book that you read. And you had like a really intense cry. And after you completed, you really felt good. There's some people who live their life who, for them, happiness is sadness. That they really get a incredible, strong emotion around sadness. Sometimes depression on a certain level. So happiness is really something that is a little bit intriguing. It's a mystery. And we're going to try to get a better understanding. And in the end, when we finish tonight, and of course, when we complete in 2 weeks from now, also on a Tuesday, Mindful Monday on Tuesday, in 2 weeks from now, on May 20th, we're going to get deeper into this topic and go further. But even for tonight, I do believe that my objective is to really open your mind, to start comprehending about this concept of happiness, what it means to you. And the question is, do I need to be happy? Why be happy? Is a question you may ask yourself. Why do I need to strive for happiness? What is it going to do for me? Maybe it's too difficult. Maybe it's easier just to be a human being, just being, or like some people call us, a human doing. I'm just going to be doing things. I'm just going to exist. I don't want to be happy. Happy is too much effort. Why should I strive to be happy? And people who ask that question, and I know myself, I asked that question years ago on a similar level. Why bother? I was very depressed. I felt that life was too difficult. And I said, why try to accomplish something that is just out of my reach? Better to stay uninterested. Better to stay status quo. The truth is, in life, there is no such thing as status quo, because the only constant in life is change. The only thing that is consistent in life is change. Yes, it would be nice if we could take certain experiences, certain emotions, certain situations, and lock them up in a bottle somewhere where we can open it up when we want to feel that and savor it and save it. You know, people say, oh my gosh, the great old times. This is today, the great old times that you are all going to talk about in 10 years from now, in 20 years from now. This is it right now. You are experiencing those great old times that you reminisce about from time to time, where you say, oh yeah, do you remember when that was going on? That was fantastic. I remember that. That was so good. Today is that time. People don't realize, and this is where we're going to get into happiness, that the life that you are living today is based on decisions that you made 10 years ago. that you made 5 years ago. You see, in happiness, we want it. There's one part of happiness is that instant gratification. Is pleasure happiness? Is it? Is pleasure happiness? Can I be happy short term? Can I be happy long term? Can I have them both? Can I be happy short term and long term? Do I need to be happy all the time in order to have a fulfilling life? Questions to ponder on as we get a deeper understanding of what happiness is. Is it possible, again, to be happy? Why would an individual want to be happy? What will it do for an individual's life if they are happy? So, in order to do this, you're going to have to ask yourself a few questions. Question number one: what does happiness mean for you? Something you may not be able to answer at this moment, but write it down. What does happiness mean for you? What makes you happy? Happiness is a feeling, it's an inner feeling, it's a spiritual feeling. Pleasure can be happiness, just to answer that question, yes. What makes you happy? We are going to figure out what is blocking you from getting to the happiness that you desire. And many times we are afraid to be honest with ourselves, to seek out a level of happiness that we don't think is attainable. So what is blocking you from getting the happiness that you want? Abraham Lincoln, one of his famous sayings was, an individual is as happy as they decide to be. In other words, you have control on your level of happiness. Happiness is something that you are able to control, that you are able to attain through you and you alone. And this is a process that we're going to be talking about tonight in order to get to that level. So, question number one: what makes you happy? And you don't have to show anybody. It's not to convince anybody else. The strange thing is, and this is from my experience, and I'm certainly struggle with this at times, that sometimes I can't even be honest with myself of what really I want. There's certain things that block us. And we're going to get to that in a little bit. So the first question is, what makes you happy? Question number two: what makes you upset? Upset is obviously the opposite of happiness. Being upset. You can't be happy if you're upset. So what makes you upset? Is it when things don't go your way? Is it with certain people in your family behave a certain way? Is it when, if you're a parent and your children don't listen to you when you need their help? Is it when your house is messy? Is it when you're at the store and the cashier is going very slow? Is it when you're on the road and there's a lot of traffic? What makes you upset? So we have two questions so far. What makes you happy? What makes you upset? Understanding these two concepts, even though it seems like simple questions, and they are simple questions, they're not always easy to answer. A lot of times we don't really think about what is it that makes us happy. We don't know always what makes us upset. We don't think about it. What is the downside of that lack of awareness of answering these questions correctly? Well, that brings us to the next question. What do you tolerate in your life? In other words, not happiness, not upset, but tolerate. What do you tolerate in your life? What are things that you will tolerate? And we'll see why you tolerate them. We'll get to that in a little bit. But first, write down, what do you tolerate? So let's repeat the 3 questions so far, and we have one more question. And this is part of the process in order for you to answer the first question: what does happiness mean for you? What is it? Why is it important? So we said question number 1, what makes you happy? What makes you happy? Maybe it's sitting outside and watching a beautiful sunset makes you happy. Maybe it's taking a nice hot bath makes you happy. Maybe it's sitting reading a book. Maybe it's spending time with your children. Maybe it's spending time with your spouse. Maybe it's praying makes you happy. Maybe it's doing inner work. There are loads of things that could make you happy. What are the things? And you can list 3 to 5 things. You can list more if you want. What makes you happy? Next question. What makes you upset? What makes you upset? Are there certain situations that make you upset? Are there certain outcomes that make you upset? Are certain behaviors by other people that are close to you make you upset? Are certain behaviors from people who are not close to you, strangers, that make you upset? Maybe if you're driving and you're in the city in the 5 boroughs and you keep hitting every traffic light, every red light, maybe that makes you upset. And then you're late for an appointment. What makes you upset? Somebody disappointed you, maybe that makes you upset. Somebody told you that they would be at a certain place at a certain time and they're not there. Does that make you upset? And again, we're not looking at the positive or negative aspect of any of these. We're trying to get some clarity. And the way to get clarity is to be honest. And the way to get to that comprehension, understand happiness, we have to take away the things that are blocking us. Knowing these things and answering these questions will remove what is blocking you and getting you stuck and not understanding why you may not be at the level of happiness that you desire. What do you tolerate in your life? We all have things that we tolerate. We tolerate. Yes. Anybody who's married for a little while will tolerate certain things that their spouse does. Their spouse tolerates certain things that they do. Why do we tolerate that particular situation with our spouse? Well, we want to be married. And therefore, we pick and choose our battles. There are certain things that we tolerate that others do. But it's important to recognize what we tolerate. Now, a stronger question. You ready? Good. I know nobody answered me, but that's okay. What do you refuse to tolerate? What do you refuse to tolerate? There are certain things in our lives that we will not tolerate. And maybe you haven't really thought about that, Maybe there's a little bit of a fear for you to identify what those things are that you refuse to tolerate. And maybe after we finish this session tonight, that will become more apparent to you. What do you refuse to tolerate? Let's repeat quickly the 4 questions. What makes you happy? What makes you upset? What do you tolerate? And what do you refuse to tolerate? Now that you've listed it, at least a little bit, comes to something that we talk a lot about in our program. We've talked a lot about it here in the Mindful Mondays, that everybody who's here is here for a certain reason. You're here to gain something. You wouldn't be here if you didn't want something out of this. One of our major theories that we talk a lot about in our program, and the reason why we are able to accomplish what we accomplish in healing so many ailments like PTSD, chronic fatigue, psychosomatic symptoms, social anxiety, phobias, fear of intimacy, chronic anxiety, insomnia. All these things we have been able to heal because of this one theory that I'm going to tell you. Some of you have heard it many times. The theory is that humans do not do random. If you are here, there is a reason that you are here. You may not even consciously be aware of why you are here. You may not be able to, or have not really thought about what exactly is it that is driving you to be here, which we're going to talk about in a little while. Why are you here? You're here for a reason. You're here to accomplish something, to reach a goal, to learn something, to improve something in your life. Or maybe just out of interest. You're curious. Could be that. So, because you're here for a certain reason, that means that you want to get to a goal. In order to get to a goal, there are 3 aspects that a person must recognize in order to achieve any goal in life. If they want to be successful about achieving a goal, if they want a smooth process in order to achieve that goal, they have to go through the 3-step process. Most people only do 2. Some people, many people, only do 1. But if you really want to accomplish a goal and really get to a deep understanding of why you want to achieve that goal, you need to go through these 3 steps. Number 1 is, where are you at? Just like when you put in the GPS, right? I want to go to this address. So you know where you want to go. The GPS will ask you from your location. Do you want to go from your location to that address? In other words, you have to determine, where are you at? Now, for GPS, it's a very simple question. You just have to type in your address of where you are and your address of where you want to get to. In life, it's a little bit more complicated than that. You can't just write that I'm on 3rd Avenue and 52nd Street. No. That is not called where you are. When we're saying is, where are you? We're talking about on a deeper level, on an emotional level, a spiritual level, a mature level. Where are you? Where are you in life? For instance, I work with a lot of doctors in their 1st year, 2nd year, 3rd year, 4th year of residence. And the question is, Oh, what year residency are you at? Well, I'm at my second year residency. I have 2 more years to go. I may do a fellowship afterwards, which is another year. Where are you at? Have you decided which type of medicine you want to practice? No, I'm still unclear. Well, then you're unsure where you are at. Where are you at in your life? To answer these questions, you have to know where you are at. And that's what we're guiding you. What makes you happy? Well, now that we know that. What makes you upset? Well, now we know that. What do you tolerate? What do you refuse to tolerate? Answering those 4 questions is going to give you a better understanding of where you are at. Now that you know where you are at, where do you want to go? We're just giving a general concept of happiness. Once you know what makes you happy, and once again, I'm assuming that you want to be happy. Some people don't want to be happy, which is also an interesting phenomenon. There are people that don't want to be happy. That is true. There are some people who don't want to think about happiness. That's a little too overwhelming for them for different reasons. Now that you know, however, we're assuming that you want to be happy. Why do these things make you happy? You have to answer the why on each of these questions. That's the third part of achieving a goal that many people are afraid to, do not want to focus on. And they prefer, as Viktor Frankl says, every human has things that they prefer not to know. There are things that humans, we prefer not to know. There's a reason why we don't want to know. For everybody, it's different. Sometimes maybe it's too much effort. Maybe it's too scary. Maybe I'm going to uncover things that I have been sweeping under the rug for many years, and I prefer not to know. So why do these things make you happy? Why do these things make you upset? Why do you tolerate? And we gave a marriage as an example for why people tolerate certain things, just as an example. Why are the things that you refuse to tolerate? Some of that's going to be easy. Well, why does a person maybe doesn't want to be happy? Maybe I don't believe I deserve better. Maybe I believe I can't get any better. Maybe I've tried and I keep failing. These are things that will block an individual that unless you do this work, you're not going to ever focus on it. Well, I shouldn't say ever, but you haven't focused on it. And that's why you're struggling. So I'm going to make life a little bit easier for you. And this is the last aspect of tonight. And then I'm going to ask for some volunteers, and we're going to do this work together for those who want to. And then we'll open up for Q&A. There are 2 driving forces that drive people in life. You see, every morning when we wake up, we have a will to live. It's something that is human, innate, was implanted in us when we were born. God, when he created us, he gave us a very basic will to survive. A will. That will, that desire to survive is something that's innate. You don't have to work on that will. It is natural. It's something that we have. Unfortunately, when people go through circumstances, or if they have some type of chronic disease like chronic depression, that they lose the joy in life. And if they reach a level of they're hopeless, they're hapless, and they're helpless, when they feel that way, a lot of people will take their life. They've basically lost their will to survive. But we're not talking about that minority people, and thank God it is a minority. We're talking about the average individual has a will to survive. And there are two things that drive an individual to do things in their life. One is fear, and one is desire. Those are the two driving forces in every human being to accomplish things: fear and desire. Both great motivators. Not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Sometimes they're extremely beneficial. I'm afraid if I don't go to work, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills and I won't have a place to live. That's a great fear. That motivates people to get up in the morning, maybe commute, maybe do things that they don't necessarily like because they have a fear. Not that it's such a conscious fear, but it's pretty well understood that it motivates people to get moving. A healthy fear. I have a desire. No, I'm not afraid I'm not going to have money. I have a desire to have more. I enjoy good things in my life. So that's a motivator. When used in a healthy way, fear, when used appropriately, fear and desire can be utilized as a great motivator to get us to accomplish certain things, to get us to do things that we may otherwise not do. So when you write down what makes you happy, well, you can have fear and desire both in that. Well, my fear is if I don't do such and such, I'm not going to have the happiness that I want. I have a desire to be happy, and therefore I'm going to do things in order to get to my happiness. It can be detrimental. If fear and desire takes you over and start getting these unrealistic fears, sometimes that can be extremely counterproductive. And it stops you and blocks you from getting to happiness. There can be fears that are just unrealistic. They can come from different experiences, from different traumas, different things that happen in our lives. A person can all of a sudden lose a certain desire to achieve things. Why? Because their fears are overtaking them. That's an inappropriate fear. That's a fear that is detrimental to us. That is not a motivating fear, just the opposite. That blocks us from motivating. Sometimes people can get to desires that are extreme, and they will do things that are risky because their desires have become out of control. And they become eccentric, compulsive. And the reason is because their desires are unrealistic. What are the source of those desires? That takes work to find out. You see, the reason why fear and desire are great motivators because they are both emotions. Some people are afraid to experience emotions. It's because they don't know what emotions are. Emotions is two words: E Motion. E standing for energy. Emotion is energy in motion. Energy in motion is life, living. If you don't have happiness, emotion becomes extremely difficult. So we asked the question when we started, why be happy? Once again, the two things that guide us in life, we always have these two things. We always have fear and we have desire. We have them. They are natural, they are innate. What drives us. It is our motivating force of life, of that will to live, is fear and desire. In fact, humans are the most afraid of all the animals and all the mammals in the animal kingdom. We are the most afraid. We could not live out in the wild, but you see, all the animals live in the wild. They understand that there are predators, that there are animals that are bigger than them. They're going to try to hunt them and eat them and kill them. They understand that. They protect themselves as best as they can. Nonetheless, they all know their place in the world. Humans, we can't talk to a lion who's attacking us or a bear that's attacking us. Hey, what are you doing? I'm a human. Why are you trying to kill me? You want something? You want some food? I'll give you some food. You can't talk to them. Humans are the most afraid of all the animals. We all have fear. It's a very natural feeling, emotion that we have. And we all have desire. Those two things run our lives every day. How can you control them? How can you empower yourself with them? How can you utilize them for your benefit? Well, that's what we're doing tonight. This is the beginning of that process. By answering these questions, what makes you happy? What is the desire that you have? Or what is the fear that is blocking you? And therefore you want to be happy. What do you tolerate? What is the reason that you tolerate something? Is it because you're afraid you're going to lose something? There's a fear? Or because you desire something bigger, so you're going to tolerate the small stuff? What do you refuse to tolerate? Because I want happiness, I'm not going to tolerate anything less. I'm not going to settle for second best. Or because I have a desire for something and my desire is very strong, I will refuse to do that. And then what makes you upset? Why do those things make you upset? Do they make you upset because you have a desire to accomplish something and that thing blocks you from getting there? Or are you afraid that you're not going to be able to get something, you're going to lose something? So if somebody stands in your way, you're going to be upset. Talking about the bear, right? The mother bear. If the mother bear believes that you're trying to hurt her cubs, well, watch out. She will do anything to protect her cubs. If the mother lion thinks that you're attacking their cubs, they will do anything. There's nothing that's going to stand in their way. Fear and desire, the two most powerful emotions. Emotion, energy, and motion. So how do we learn to use these so that they can be helpful to us? Well, this is the beginning of the process that we're doing tonight. Identifying. In 2 weeks, we're going to go deeper, but I just want you to know that this is part of what we teach in our program. This is how we really reduce anxiety with people who lose weight. Is one of the big things that we do. All these things we do because we talk about these concepts on a very deep level. And if you're at a place where you're hurting and you're feeling stuck and you're having difficulty answering these questions, well, maybe you want to understand a little bit deeper of what's going on, how you can be helped. And these Mindful Mondays are just a flavor, it's just a small taste of what we do in our program on a weekly basis. I'm going to ask for 2 or 3 volunteers in a moment. And we're going to go through these questions together. So if you're willing to be a little bit vulnerable, a little bit open, we're just going to ask for your first name only so I know how to call you. We're not going to embarrass you. That's not our point. You can reach out to the office at 845-400-9466 and just say, I would like to talk to one of the coaches about your program and find out what it's about. And we'd be more than happy to have a conversation with one of our coaches. And maybe we can help you. Maybe there's a family member who needs. We've literally saved lives. Saved lives. And I'm not exaggerating, because many of the people here tonight are our members, and they can definitely attest to that. You know, if you need referrals, we'll give you referrals, but this is what we do. We're really saving lives, and we delve into areas, it's very innovative what we do in ways that people don't naturally look. We think out of the box to give you that life that you desire, except fear and desire, that you deserve. So I'm going to open up now. I would like to have 2 or 3 volunteers. Just press *6 to unmute if you would like to be one of the volunteers, or you can text in the chat. You have the ability to unmute by pressing *6, or if you are calling in, I see a lot of you are calling in online, you can just unmute yourself. And if you would like to be a volunteer to go through this with me together and to get a deeper understanding, I would prefer non-members first, but I'll take members also, who would like to go through these questions together to get a deeper understanding of what it is, and maybe we can uncover something. So I'm going to give it a minute to think about who would like to go through these questions about what makes you happy, upset, tolerate, and refuse to tolerate. And then we can, I see somebody raise their hand. Okay, that's one. Excellent. Anybody else would like to volunteer to do this work together? 9-6, I see that you also unmuted. So I have Sarah who raised her hand. I have 9-6. Is there anybody else? I'll take one more. And I see anybody else, preferably a non-member.
Hello?
Yes. I'm looking for
I'm not
somebody.
sure.
I'm looking for somebody
I
who's
am muted, but I'm not sure what the last two digits of the phone number I'm calling from.
but you're a member, yes?
Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to find somebody else who's a non-member. Okay, so we got Sarah Mulkey, then we have 9-6, and if we have time,
I am a
we'll
member,
do-
so maybe I'll just.
that's okay. And then if we have time, we'll do 9-0 also. That's fine. We got 4 people. Excellent. Okay, Sarah, number 1, you ready? What makes you happy?
It's a difficult question because what makes me happy? A lot of things. To do meditation,
Okay, meditation.
be around good company,
So interacting with good people. Okay.
right? Yeah, interacting with good people, exactly. Honest people, deep people, a walk in the morning,
Taking a walk in the morning. Beautiful. Nice.
shower,
I'm sorry?
a walk in the morning, a shower.
A walk in the morning and a shower. Okay.
What else makes me happy? Dancing.
Dancing. Wow. Great. You ever thought about this before?
I did sort of, but now I'm thinking about it more.
Beautiful. Okay.
Exercise.
List of a bunch of things: interacting with people, meditating, taking for a walk, shower, interacting with good, honest, certain types of people, right? Great.
Exercise.
Exercise. Okay. We got a nice list. Beautiful. What makes you upset?
When people lie, when they take advantage.
So when people lie and when they take advantage, that's two different things, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay. So when people,
When people are fake, it's similar to lie, but it's not the same thing because lie is when you say a lie. A fake is when you're being fake. You're not being real. You're not being authentic.
right. So when people lie, when they're not authentic, what else makes you upset?
When they take advantage.
When they take advantage, okay.
What else makes me upset? Trying to think.
Okay.
When people are controlling and they don't let you like follow your gut, they want you to follow them versus follow your gut.
Okay. So they're controlling and they're disrespectful. They're not respecting your wishes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Beautiful. What do you tolerate?
What do I tolerate?
Mm-hmm.
You mean from other people?
In general, in life, what do you tolerate in life?
What will you or what do you?
What do you?
You mean if I tolerate things that I shouldn't be tolerating? Or
There's no, not like that. There's certain things that we all tolerate. For instance, I gave an example. I tolerate working far from home because I need the job in order to feed my family, right? From mishpacha. I need parnasa. So
right.
I tolerate the challenges that I have because, I need the job. I tolerate the way my parents act or the way my spouse acts because I want to be in a marriage or I want to be close to my parents. I'm going to tolerate some people's behaviors, for instance.
Right, right.
What do
So I
you
tolerate. You mean trying to say you tolerate it? You don't really like it, but you tolerate it because you feel like you don't have a choice.
not about liking or disliking. It's about tolerating. What do you tolerate?
In other words, you're trying to say I'm tolerating it, but really I don't want it.
You would prefer not to have it,
Right.
but you tolerate it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise,
Okay.
to a level of upset, but it doesn't bring you happiness either.
Right, right. So it's family,
Okay, you tolerate.
family, being with family,
Okay,
because I feel I don't want to be alone. What's the other option?
okay. What else?
Tolerate friends that you know are really not there for you in return, even if you give to them because you don't want to be without friends, so you just tolerate their behavior.
Okay, so I want you to change.
Friends that take advantage.
I want you to say I statements. In other words, not you don't want to be with them, I don't want to be with them, or I don't want to be alone. Okay?
Okay, I don't want to be alone, so
Okay.
therefore I tolerate being with family, and I tolerate friends that take advantage, even though they're not true friends.
Okay. What else?
I tolerate. I don't know how to say it, but sometimes I do things I don't want to do in order to please. So I tolerate pleasing people. I don't know how to put it in words.
People pleaser. You're a
Right.
people pleaser. Right. I hear that. Okay. What do you refuse to tolerate?
You mean in the past or like from now on when I think about it?
In general, what do you refuse to tolerate?
Liars,
You refuse to tolerate liars. Okay.
overpowering and controlling people that take advantage, that you can't have, they don't respect you.
So, in other words, the things that make you upset, you refuse to tolerate, correct?
Right.
Okay. What else?
What will you not tolerate?
Refuse.
What will you, what do you refuse to tolerate? A dirty house, maybe?
Okay.
Dusty house?
You mean your house?
What?
You mean your house or somebody else's house?
My house, somebody else's house.
So you don't tolerate dirt.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, that's it, I think, for now.
Okay. So, would you like me to summarize and paint you a picture about yourself?
Yes,
You sure?
yes.
Okay. It sounds to me that, well, let's go over it and see if I was accurate in my understanding.
Okay.
You love time by yourself?
I like by myself, yeah, sometimes, yeah.
You love taking a walk, you love doing exercise, and there are certain types of people that you feel very comfortable that you enjoy being around.
Right,
You can't tolerate when something is not real,
right,
when somebody is fake. And
right. They're just, in other words, when somebody's pretending, let's say,
I understand.
something just because they think that you're gonna like or somebody else is gonna be their friend because they like it, they're like fake. They're pretending to be that type.
However, you do the same thing.
Where do I do the same thing?
You people please with things that you tolerate.
Oh. So what choice do I have? Should I not tolerate family and not go to them?
We didn't get to the choice. I'm just helping you understand who you are and what this exercise has brought you. So you
Okay.
understand what makes you happy. You understand what makes you upset. However, a lot of the things that make you happy and make you upset have to do with other people, correct?
Yes.
The problem with that is that it's going to be very difficult for you to reach true happiness that way. Because your happiness is dependent a lot, not completely, on other people. Do you see that?
Yes, yes.
A person who is like that is usually a person who's gone through some type of trauma or emotional neglect in their upbringing
Right.
and never got to a level where they have built themselves up to be independent and to be happy regardless of their surroundings and other people.
I hear you, but if you're around a friend that's, let's say, fake or taking advantage of you, are you?
I understand all that. I heard you. My question to you is, do you want to keep going on in life like that, or would you like to correct that to get to a level where even though there are fake people around you, you can still be happy?
Yes.
Well, that's what we teach in our program. That was so far today, what you have uncovered a little bit of self-awareness is that there are things that are blocking you from getting most of the reasons for your wanting to be happy is from fear, not so much from desire. Do you see that?
No.
Fear of somebody taking advantage of you, fear of somebody being disrespectful, fear of somebody who's being fake.
It makes me upset when they're fake. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that fear.
Well, that's the fear because you may tolerate them, so you're not alone.
Right. Oh, yeah, yeah. The toleration is from fear, yes. But it makes me upset. So why? So
Oh,
what?
I understand that. So I'm just telling you that your upsetness and your true level of happiness has to do with other people.
Right.
Do
So
you want to stay that way, or would you like to heal that?
I would like to hear that.
Okay. Well, you're in the right place. If you want to find out more, go reach out to our office. This is exactly what we heal. This is what we do. Because we will find out there is a reason that you are the way you are. It's not your fault.
Of course.
However, you have figured out certain coping mechanisms, taking a shower, walking, all good things, meditation, hanging around a certain type of people. However, you are judging the people that you are around in order for you to feel comfortable, which hinders your inner peace,
Right.
which makes it difficult to be happy. True happiness.
True. But I have a question for you. Isn't it also a way to be real? And let's say if somebody takes advantage or
Nobody,
wait,
no,
rather let go of that.
I'm going to stop you there. Nobody can take advantage of you unless you allow them. It's not possible. Unless, of course, God forbid, we're talking about somebody comes with a gun and they're much stronger than you and they overpower you. Yes. Somebody comes with a gun and they break into your home and they steal things from you. They physically harm you. Physical harm, that's not your fault. Emotional harm that you're talking about emotional harm, right?
Right. Yes.
Nobody, no human being has the ability to emotionally harm you unless you allow them subconsciously.
Right. True. But let's say somebody is not loyal to you. Let's say disloyal friend. You do for her, she doesn't do for you. Isn't it somebody that you should let go of? You have
I'm
to tolerate it?
I'm not saying that you should not let go of it, but here's a perfect example. So you have a friend and they are not loyal, right?
Right. I do for them, they wouldn't do that, yeah.
Now, number one, when you did for them, was it because you wanted reciprocation from them?
Sometimes
Yeah, you did.
yes, sometimes not. But even if I didn't want,
That's called people pleasing. So if your friendship is contingent on them reciprocating, that's not unconditional friendship, is it?
no, it's not. But let me tell you this example. I wasn't doing for her, I wasn't thinking at the time that I wanted to do back for me.
I understand.
At a different time when I needed something that she was able to provide, I saw that she's not there. Isn't a relationship supposed to be a give and take? Not just one person gives and gives and the other person just takes.
A healthy relationship is two people that have the same values, and give and take is not part of that equation because there's no scale. Well, I gave you 3 times. How come you don't give back?
Right, right, 100%. No, I'm not talking about it in that way. Like I gave you a sandwich and you left it. No, I'm not talking about it in that way. I'm
I
talking
was
about it that if
I know
you do for your friend, but when you need something in return, she wouldn't be there for you. She wouldn't care, show any care, or any. She's only into herself.
okay. So if you have a friend who's not there for when you need, then that's going to be a different type of friendship, correct?
Correct. That's not a friend. That's probably acquaintance.
Right. So therefore, they cannot take advantage of you again unless you stay in that relationship hoping that they're going to change. True?
True.
There you go. So
So
if you're with a friend and they prove that they're not really a friend, they're not taking advantage of you, End of story. I can still be happy. No problem. You don't want? It's a one-sided relationship. I move on, like you say, let go. Once again, I just want to prove to you that your happiness is dependent on you.
Right.
So if you find out that a certain friend is not a real friend, and very possible, and likely a lot of times, and I know I suffer with this also, I would become a friend because subconsciously I really wanted or felt that I needed the reciprocation. And
So-
so once again, the onus is on me. Do you see that?
Yes, I see that. But
Okay.
I thought you were trying to say that there's a way of being happy even though that person takes it.
There is.
To say that letting go is part of the way of making yourself happy is letting go of it if you can't solve it.
Absolutely. Yes. No more people pleasing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here. Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. So thank you for your courage and your vulnerability and your honesty to come forth. I hope you learned something.
Okay, so you're saying the problem is I'm too much dependent on people to be happy.
Yes, your level of happiness is dependent on other people, and it's impossible to be happy if you don't heal that. You will lead a very frustrating life.
Right. Now, what program do you have? Like what modality? How would you heal the trauma?
We retrain the subconscious. We get down to the beliefs of what you have inside of you, of why you are acting the way you are acting, and why you are believing and getting affected by non-loyal, annoying people, take advantage, people are not authentic. Why is that affecting you? There is a reason that that affects you. And that's,
Uh-huh. There's a reason why that affects me. I do get very affected, and rejection hurts me deeply. Yeah.
absolutely. So there are some deep-seated beliefs inside of you from experiences, not your fault. And that is what we heal. We don't heal the experiences that we have. We heal your perception that you have.
Mm-hmm. And you've seen people get out of it?
Hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
In
Okay.
fact, the ladies who gave herself to unmute is one of those people. We'll see if we'll get to her. She's a member.
So maybe you should interview some members live so we can hear their results.
Okay, you want to do that? We'll do that. 9-6. Would you like to be that person? You can say no. You have to unmute though, are you? Hello?
Yeah, hi. I can, but I'm not available right now. I have to put myself on mute, so I can't at the moment. I did want to, but I can't at the moment.
So another
Sorry.
5 minutes?
Hi, I can volunteer. 03.
Okay, M said she's going to give up her spot for a member, but then we'll go to a member. Okay, 03. You want to talk about what you have healed so far?
I would feel more comfortable if you ask me questions.
Well, I'm sorry?
I would feel more comfortable if you ask me questions and I answer.
What makes you happy?
A lot of things.
Just write down 3 things.
Family,
Okay,
outdoors,
okay,
reading,
okay,
a walk,
okay. Beautiful.
shopping,
Okay, beautiful. What else?
shower, cooking,
Cooking. Beautiful. Okay. What makes you upset?
being alone,
Being alone. Okay.
I love company, so that also makes me happy.
Okay. So you enjoy interacting with others.
Yeah, I enjoy people.
You're a people
I'm a
person.
people lover. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I love simchas.
Well, you're writing all about all the things that make you happy. We're asking what makes you
So,
upset. It's not too long, is it?
what?
That list is not too long about what
No,
makes you.
not too long.
What was before you came into the program?
A lot of things.
Like
Everything basically got me upset.
Everything got you upset. So other
A
people.
lot of things I wasn't able to tolerate. I didn't know how to think in another person's perspective, basically. I was always only in my perspective, in my mind.
So
I got to understand other people.
So now you are more respectful of others?
Yeah, sure.
You get as affected by other people as you used to?
No,
How's that possible?
it's just about me. I stopped caring what other people say or do. I do what's good for me. I just feel what I.
Right. So what changed for you that you were able to change this perspective from being incredibly affected by other people to not getting upset by other people?
It was a process, and I slowly healed from negative beliefs, negative self-talk, negative thoughts.
Wow.
It all changed.
So the negative thoughts and beliefs was about you or about other people or both?
Both, mostly about me.
So you changed the way you interact with other people, the way you are affected by other people by healing the negative beliefs that you had that came from where? You don't have to be specific, but just in general.
Conditioning, brought up that way.
Okay, so from childhood traumas and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Being criticized.
once you healed that, now before you came into the program, would you have believed that you would be saying this?
No.
Did you think it was possible?
Maybe I tried other things that didn't work, so I was happy to find this.
No, I
It
understand
was
that.
like a lifesaver, like my lifeline.
No, I appreciate that, but I'm saying before you start to do the work, I understand that you were hoping, but did you really believe that it was going to happen for you?
No, it was. I was hoping, but I couldn't foresee it. No,
You couldn't
I
fathom it.
couldn't. No,
Now, I'm not convincing you of this, correct?
no.
And what has happened and transpired in your relationship? You're married, yes? You have a mishpacha?
Yeah.
What has happened in your relationship with your husband, with your children?
Everything is better.
In what ways? Do you want to be a little bit more specific or private?
I'm more tolerant of other people, so it's not only. Before it was like I used to get upset if someone didn't come through to my expectations, or even if someone made a mistake in the grocery, or someone forgot something. It's like so funny because now when I think back to it, I just laugh. It's like, what did I think? Why did I even think that only I'm allowed to make a mistake, or that I never make mistakes, only other people make mistakes?
So if you would send your
Or
child,
only other people forget and I never forget.
so if you sent
I
your
just didn't realize my fault. It was just, not so much perfect, but I wanted to be perfect, and I didn't give myself permission to be human.
So if you sent somebody to the grocery to buy you something and they came back with the wrong item or not the right item, you used to get upset, yes?
Sure. Upset, criticized.
Now? What about
Now it's just part of life. It's human nature. People forget.
Wow.
People are not perfect, and we all make mistakes, and if something happens, you just go on. You don't have to get all worked up. It's okay. You go change it, or you do without it, or you make do, or you go yourself, or whatever.
So
There's
what's,
always option C that we were taught, and that really helps a lot.
so your perception has changed about yourself and about others. Is that correct?
Correct.
Your perception about life has changed, correct?
Correct.
What about your connection to the Abishter? How has that changed?
I'm still working on that. It's different. I can't say better or worse. It's a different connection.
So how long, somebody's asking, how long are you in the program?
Over a year, a little more than a year.
Little more than a year. Wow. And when did you feel your first like major transformation? I know it's a process, but I don't know if you can accurately remember that.
So basically, I came in for weight loss, and I switched over, and I felt I need to work on the other stuff before my weight. It wasn't so important. My health and my vitality and my happiness was much more proceeding than my weight before then. I could say after 3-4 months, I was able to see a difference.
Wow. And you've done, like you said, you've done many things before, but you were never able to really achieve what you were attempting to achieve, correct?
Correct. Achieved a little, it's always growth and trial and yeah, but when you're connected and you're with the support, and I saw it was
Okay.
it was a major.
And somebody's asking, did you ever go back to the weight stuff or not yet? The weight, did you ever address that yet or not yet? You said you came in
Yeah,
originally.
I'm trying.
Okay.
It's still struggle. Hopefully we'll get there.
Okay, but you're working on it now. So
Yeah.
at least you started working on it. Okay. Beautiful.
But
Thank
one
you.
thing I could say that when I can attest to that craving, that anxiety makes you crave.
Correct.
It's like not 100% true, but 1,000% true. and I've proved it also with people who are not on the program. When you're less stressed and you're in adult mode, how we call it, automatically you're much more in control, and
So-
you don't need. You're so content. You
Right.
don't need the food for
So you're-
contentment.
So what you're saying is, correct me if I'm wrong, that your cravings have subsided tremendously. Yes?
I see it when I'm less stressed, when my stress level, not life has its challenges. So it's
Right.
up, you have it up and down, so it's something that fluctuates. But the belief, for sure, has changed. Even
Okay.
when I do eat for emotional eating, I'm aware and I know it's for emotional eating, and it's just like I can stop it more than I used to.
Because now you understand what the source of it is what you're saying, correct?
Yeah.
That's amazing. The person asked what to explain. When they're talking about adult mode, they're talking about not in anxiety, not in anxiety mode, but in a calmer state of being. One of the many things that we teach in the program. So here's a perfect example of somebody who's just like a lot of other people here, who came in with all those negative beliefs that our first caller was talking about. And she has healed from that. A different person affected her family life. So she is happy despite the other people. Amazing. Okay, Em, do you want to try this, I think, with Malky? You had unmuted before and you surrendered your spot for a member. Would you?
I'm going to mute. Thank you, Alan.
Thank
I
you.
enjoyed that.
You're welcome.
It
Thank
gave me something to be grateful and
Beautiful.
to how do you say in the program that we assessment?
Right. Self-assessment.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So that was a good.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for volunteering. Okay. I don't know if you're still here. The person who said before that she was willing to give up her spot. I don't know if I see her anymore. I don't think she is still here. That's fine. Oh, 9-6 is here. Are you able to talk now, 9-6, or you're still unable? You can just unmute and tell me yes or no. I see you're here. I'm assuming she cannot talk yet, otherwise she would have unmuted. Okay. I don't see him yet. Anybody else would like to volunteer to do this together with me to get a clearer understanding of where you were at? Now, I know, yes, you were unmuted before. Correct. Go ahead. Okay.
I just unmuted.
Oh, beautiful. So you're calling in from 1-6. Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead. Tell me, what makes you happy?
So I have a list of what makes me happy, and then I have what makes me feel alive, and I don't feel like they're the same.
No problem. What makes you happy?
I feel happy when I feel that I'm doing good.
Okay. What
And
else?
that was the only one I was able to come up with. And then somewhere you said the word alive, and once you said something about alive, I have a few things that make me feel alive.
What makes you feel?
Good music, a
Okay.
walk,
Okay.
nature, scenic things like I like to paint, so when I paint scenery,
Okay.
and working really hard, like in the workout,
Okay. Exercising?
yes, swimming,
Okay.
and dancing.
Beautiful. So those are obviously fields that they make you happy, right? They make you feel alive. So feeling alive makes you happy, correct?
They feel different. I don't know. It's just like when I do one of the things that I just listed, I just feel like I guess it is happy.
Yeah, of course. Feeling alive makes
Okay.
you happy. Sure. Makes sense.
Okay.
Okay. What makes you upset?
When I fail
When you fail.
and when someone doesn't care about me,
Okay.
and when I feel stuck.
So when you feel stuck, when you
I get
fail,
upset.
in other words, you
Yeah.
attempt something and you don't accomplish it, right?
No, when I don't accomplish it, I try again. When I fail, like when I fail, as in, let's say I have a task at hand and I tried once and it didn't work, or I tried 2 times and it didn't work, and I'm failing to put in effort, or I'm failing to figure out how to do it differently, and I just like give up, then I feel like I'm failing myself. I'm like,
Okay. So in other words, when you feel
yeah,
stuck, when you don't have a way out to do something, so that makes you upset.
right.
Okay. And what do you tolerate?
I tolerate someone being in my space. Like,
Okay.
I guess I learned how to tolerate that.
Okay.
I tolerate working many hours,
Okay.
and I tolerate the need, or I'm not sure what the other word would be, for having to be persistent. Like, I tolerate doing something that requires from myself like consistent effort and being persistent.
Okay. And what do you refuse to tolerate?
Being stepped upon,
Okay.
anything that pushes me against my values,
Wow.
and being mistreated.
And being what?
Mistreated.
Okay. Now, before you came in the program, were you aware of these things?
Nah.
So how did you live your life? Do you remember what made you happy or alive before you came into the program? Did you have things that you,
Trying to think. Before I came into the program, I was always worried. I hated people that took away my worries. And I consciously knew that I want to have a worry available so that if someone takes away the one that I have currently, I still have a backup one.
oh, so you were upset at people who took away your worries.
Right.
Wow.
And I had major social anxiety
Okay.
and massive meltdowns before every family simcha because I didn't want to not go and I also didn't want to go. I don't think I really was able to feel happy or sad or anything like that. I was very much not in tune. I was like so not in tune that like the sign for me knowing that I'm like nervous or anxious was something physical. Like if I saw that I'm being fidgety, I was like, oh, that means that I'm nervous. And that's like till where it went. I didn't know what to do about it. And also could have taken me sometimes like a half a day. Like after a few hours, I realized, oh, that's why I'm having a hard time because I'm fidgety. Oh, because that means that I'm nervous. Like that. I had a very hard time falling asleep, and I was a loner. I didn't have friends. It was too much for me to figure out how to deal with another person. Just dealing with me was complicated enough.
And how about now?
Now I have a bunch of different relationships, acquaintances, workmates, and I actually am an extrovert. And I love being around people, and I love
Wow.
hearing ideas. I always loved philosophizing about others and like what makes people tick. Now I can actually sit with people and listen to what they do and why they do it, and I enjoy it.
Wow. So are you a
So I
worrywart?
went from not wanting to go anywhere to getting home from work and like waiting to go out again.
That's incredible. And
Yeah.
how long are you in the program?
I think over 2 years.
Wow. And how long did it take for you to reach that level, to reach that shift that you were, or the first shift that you were expressing?
It's shift.
I'm sorry?
I'm trying to think. I do have everything recorded, and I have like journals full of wins and changes. I'm just trying to think what was the first one. Not sure.
Where do you
I
start with?
know that somewhere in the very beginning I realized about the worries and that it's a coping mechanism and that I want it. And
How long
that was, I think, the first
took
one.
you to get that awareness of that you're worrying is a coping mechanism, and start working on that and start being aware of that? Approximately.
Probably, I had two major like realizations in the beginning. One was where the worries is a coping mechanism, and the other one was where I realized that I have a hard time wanting more and believing that I could get more. So one of these came within the first 2 months, or the very first program out of the curriculum, I think it was.
Okay.
Yes, there I definitely had those realizations.
So within 6 to 8 weeks, yes?
Yes.
Wow. And why did
And
you
when I started your program, I truly believed that it's not for me and I'm never going to achieve what you promised to the other people. I just told myself that I had a very hard time listening to your lessons. And I told myself that if I could maybe learn how to listen to someone else's lesson and just be fine being, then it's worth it.
So why did you keep going? Why didn't you quit? What made
Because I'm
you?
not a quitter. I've never quit. I always just continue going.
Okay.
And I truly believed this ain't gonna work. We're just doing it so that I could learn how to listen to someone else.
Wow. So
Good
why did
coping mechanism there.
you join the program in the first place?
I joined the program because I was in talk therapy, and at some point I realized that when we speak in talk therapy about our traumas, our brain, in my opinion, re-experiences it, and that means that I schedule a trauma weekly, Tuesday at 10 o'clock, and then I have to recover. And by the time I recover, I'm doing that again. So instead of just living my adult life without traumas, I'm repeating them. I had a
Wow.
really hard time getting back to myself, and I said, this is not the way. This, maybe I'm going 5 steps forward, but I'm also going a bunch of steps back.
Amazing.
And I was looking for something that deals with trauma, doesn't do blaming, and does not require me talking about it. And somewhere in the webinar or something, I heard that you don't do blaming. And when I called in, I asked one question: do you have to talk about it? I said, no. I said, well, I'm willing to try it.
So we don't talk about the trauma itself, correct?
Right.
Wow.
We do talk about the much more important thing, which is how you internalized it and what you can do about your perception so that we can change what you internalized, and then the rest of your life you don't have to live the same way as you did till now.
And how grateful are you? And how's your life now?
Much better.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I'm
just, I don't know, it's not the same life, and I don't feel like I'm the same person. I just like, I was very different, and for myself I feel better, and most of the people that I did have something in common, slowly, maturely, I feel like I don't have anything in common with them, because as I grew, I changed into the person who I really am, and I'm not into negativity and worries and what could go wrong and such type of things. And I went out a half a year after I started your program with a couple of friends, and I did not enjoy the outing, and I just didn't see them again ever since.
Are you still? Are you
I
still?
know it's to thank. I know it's to thank your program for that, and you.
Are you still in the program? Are you still continuing, or you've completed?
No, I took a break after an inner child.
Okay.
Yeah.
This person is asking if you're still thinking of continuing the program, and if yet, what for?
Definitely.
Oh, you are thinking of continuing.
Yeah.
Okay.
What for?
I'm just repeating this, not me. I'm not asking the question.
So in the program, there's this major concept of deprivation, where it's not what you don't have, more importantly, what you don't allow yourself to have. So the universe has enough air and water and everything else that we need. And when you're in the deprivation mode, you try to help the universe save stuff. And the universe is abundant, and it has a lot more than you need. And instead, you're trying to help it save. And what it does for you is it denies you a life full of happiness, and it doesn't allow you to think of future goals, of being happy, of living in the moment. And it's a very tough life to live. And that was like one of the major things that I started working on. And I definitely want to be able to get rid of this deprivation mentality.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for both of you for sharing. Thank you for Sarah for. Em, are you here? Would you like to take a crack, and then can I see if 96 is available for you? Take them. No, we're going to go to M. Do you want to? I don't think 96 is able to speak. Em, would you like to do this?
I would love to, but I really want to hear more from members, to be honest.
You want to hear more from members. All right, let me see. I don't know if 96 is here. The other person is saying the same thing. I don't see her. I don't think she was able to speak. She is here. Okay, somebody's telling me that she is here. She sees her. 96, you're becoming a popular person. I don't see her here. 1 minute. I'm scanning. Well, she can hear me anyways if she is here. And if you are here, are you able to unmute? I don't see her. No, I don't think she's here right now. I don't see her. Is there another member who is here, who's in the program for a little while, that would like to do this with me? She joined Mom just 2 minutes ago. Could be she left again. I don't know. 96, are you here? I don't know. Oh, there you are. You are here. People are requesting that you unmute and talk, if you're able to, obviously. If you can't, I respect that. Yes, I do see you. I think she's going in and out. Maybe there's something wrong with her phone. Okay. Is there another member who's been here for a little while?
It's 9-6. I hear you,
Nine
but I
six.
cannot
Hello.
talk.
You're a popular
Yes,
person.
I would.
Nobody
Yeah,
knows who
I
you
would
are
love
other
to.
than 6.
I would love to. I would love to, but I can't right now. I'm really sorry. Next time.
No problem. Okay. Well, there you have it. Is there somebody else who would like to, who's been in the program for a little while, who would like to do this with me? There's some people who are requesting other members. Not everybody can talk. If not, we do have somebody who's calling in from Zoom who has a question. Well, we'll take the question first. Okay. If you're calling from Zoom, you can unmute and speak. He said, how do we speak? Ask a question. Just unmute yourself and you can talk.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
So actually, I would say I was also a member, but I took a break.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, it was like maybe I could also help. I could say that as soon as I joined, it was like within one time, it was amazing. You know, like I felt so much better. So I think that my question, what I wanted to say now is that because someone was talking about a therapist and like, well, I had to stop because of financial reasons. And at that time, it was like before Yom Tov and I was going away. And I was like, okay, I'm fine. Doesn't mean I'm going to go backwards or anything. So I was just starting to think lately that I have to, like, I want to continue. I really need to continue. And I was always seeing a therapist this past, like, what all this time. And it was just you know, it was like different things. Fine, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. I mean, I just talk. I just basically like I talk like even like friends or whatever. And in the beginning, it was she really felt like there was a contradiction. You know, like it was just that you can't do both. You can't do the same and I just ignored that because I was like, okay, I like her, and I'm still going to come to her, and I just just keep it like that and just do whatever I have to do. And a lot of things were against it, and the reason I'm asking this is because I wanted to know. I also asked it is like, do you go backwards? Could you could you not be able to just like stay where you are, or like you need to continue? I'm thinking that maybe I would push myself too much with preparation, cleaning for Pesach, and a lot of things are happening that I'm sometimes feeling like overwhelmed and not exactly getting the same feelings back, but I feel like I'm just kind of like also all over the place. Like I just my I can't be focused because my mind is like not even, I wouldn't like call it racing, but I'm all over the place. I'm like I just I feel like I'm in a race with time. Like I have so much to do and I am pushing myself a lot. And all of a sudden I'm like not organizing myself, like I was doing like a certain program, not a diet, but a certain program, and I was great. And I had a coach. And that was like 3 months, and it's a lifetime thing, but I don't have, I have to do it on myself. So a lot of things I'm like, I have to get to sleep at a certain time. I have to push myself to do, and I'm like, what's happening here? I have to like nip it in the bud again because I felt like I went to the therapist, and after like 1 week I decided to cancel, and I have like reasons. I'm busy, but now it's on my mind the whole time. Should I go to her next week? Because I felt like really stupid. I felt like she's telling me you have anxiety, and like I'm not going to argue. It could be true sometimes, but I was trying to explain myself that I'm so much better. Not even so much better. I felt like she doesn't know me and I know myself, and it was more like an arguing match. And then she was like at the end, okay, we're done here, whatever. And I felt like I'm being the door's being closed in my face, and it's like, that's it. And I don't want it to be like that. If I don't go to her again, I like this person, and I want it to end like that. I don't want it to be like a bad ending of a relationship. I'm trying to explain myself how after I started doing this program, I even wasn't aware that I have so much more confidence. And the same thing the other women were saying, that it's like I was more introverted than I was extroverted. I felt like myself, like so like sure and confident, and it didn't matter. And just lately I'm sort of shying away. It's like, oh, I don't want to go to shul. I don't have anything to wear. I don't want to see people. This is going to upset me. That's going to upset me. And then I'm not like that. And then I try to do it, and I don't know. I'm like getting worried because
Okay. So you were doing better in the program, and then you left, and then you went to a therapist. Is that correct? That's what I'm understanding?
oh no, at the same time, no, I was going to a therapist like for years, but then I stopped like
Okay.
for a year. But at the same time that I started your program, I started with her again,
Okay.
and just at the same time, and everything was good. No, it wasn't when I stopped. I just continued going
Okay.
to her. And I see, I don't like certain things that she's saying, but I thought, okay, we just don't agree, or it's her perception, or it's like to
You
tell
what?
me that I'm never going to get out of anxiety. Once you have anxiety, you always have anxiety. And I think that a lot of people have anxiety. If people have anxiety off and on, sometimes it's worse, sometimes it's better,
You
but I
learned that.
really felt like I was totally like so much calm, relaxed, laid back person. And I had such a not good feeling because I felt like then she was mimicking me or something, like making fun, like, oh, what do you mean? You always say about this, you say about that. I said, no, I'm really not like that. She said, but that's what it sounds like. You're saying this. And because I'm talking to her, or I want to get everything out as fast as I can. I mean, like, it's time limited, and I have a lot to say. And all of a sudden I felt like, I don't know, it was all over. Things started bothering me, like little things that shouldn't bother me were bothering me. And I'm like, got to fight this, because I'm not a quitter, and I just have to keep trying, keep waking up the next day and going again, doing it again.
So can we focus for a minute, because you're going off on a tangent?
Yeah, I do that.
So you were in the program, and you were also going to a therapist, and you stopped the program. You're still going to a therapist. Yes or no?
Right, yes.
Okay. Why did you stop the program? If you were improving when you were in the program, correct?
Right,
And why did
yes.
you stop?
I was doing good. Not that I didn't think I needed it. I wanted to continue it,
Simple
but my
question.
husband didn't want me to. I mean,
Go
not that he didn't see results. It's like financially, he didn't think that he think I should stop now because I was going away, and then it would be too hard. And then the Yontif was coming, and
Okay. So you stopped the program how long ago?
all right. So it was like before Sukkot, I think. So it's like more than a half a year.
It's about 7, 8 months ago you stopped the program, correct? And you stayed on with a therapist.
Yes.
And now you're starting to feel anxious again, correct? And starting to feel unfocused, which is something that you were healing while you were in the program, correct?
Yeah.
So you see that you took something that was working and you sabotaged it. Do you see that?
Did I sabotage it?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe yes. Okay. Could
So
be.
there's a reason that people do that. The reason why people self-sabotage is because, well, there's several reasons. Is because if we have a coping mechanism, that anxiety, we believe that's the way to get through life, we will sabotage things that are working in order to get back to that anxiety.
Mm.
So here, you
Yeah.
left something that was working, you left too early before you were further healed, but it was working. And then now you're saying you're all over the place, understandably, but the truth is subconsciously that is what you desired.
Oh no. I hope not. I mean, why would someone desire that?
It's not about hoping, it's about what happened. I'm talking about what happens, not about what's going to happen. So there's no such thing as hope. Hope is a delusional thought based on that. So you self-sabotage. People do that. Something that we teach in the program, I'm assuming you remember what we
Yes,
talked
I'm
about.
remembering.
Yes.
I think it's like unconsciously.
Of course it's
Or-
unconscious. Yes, it's unconscious, yes. So now you have a choice. Now that you're aware, you came back, you're hurting again, and you want to know what you should do, yes?
See, I'm always interested and I love the learning. So I was I was following you, some of these, yeah, and I knew I wanted to come back, but
So what
I
do you
wanted
think?
to finish it.
Okay. So that's the answer. Sometimes it happens.
But something triggered it, right?
Again, somebody's asking you, why would somebody desire anxiety? Yeah, if it's a coping mechanism, if that's how you've conditioned yourself to live, right? If
Oh,
that's,
you're asking me?
no,
It's
this other person is texting. She's asking. So a person
the
wants,
coping mechanism is anxiety?
yeah. Why a person would want anxiety is because if they're conditioned that that's the way to get through life and they believe that that's the only way to function, they will seek ways to be anxious. Do you remember we taught that?
Yes.
So what happens is that people will leave before they're healed and then wonder what's going on. Why am I falling apart? We don't fall apart immediately. We're not microwave ovens where we go in and all of a sudden we're hot after a minute. It takes a little time. But here you are again, struggling again. But that's what subconsciously you wanted 8 months ago. Well, you was asking questions that we're going to explain in the program. I'm not going to go into depth over here on that. And we spend a lot of time. It's not a quick answer. Your question.
I'm sorry. Right? You're talking to me?
No, I'm just responding to the person who's asking those questions. And again, that whole concept of what you wanted and this, I'm telling you that it's a process. It can't be answered just in a quick Q&A. Sorry. That, if you really, really want to learn that, then you're going to have to find out about the program and join that, because that's what we focus on. That will answer that. How can you want anxiety and not want anxiety at the same time? Yes. And we did talk about that in the program. You remember that? We talked about that in the program, yes?
Right. I thought that this is where I could help because I was in it and then I stopped. Not that I didn't believe in it, but I stopped. And then you could see that, right, it wouldn't come back right away. I said, how should this happen? Why should it come back right? So something triggered it. Maybe I pushed myself too much or something
Whatever.
I was doing.
Right. Until you get to a point where you really heal it, it's going to take, certain things are going to bring it back. Whereas when you get to a point where you have healed it, those same things will not set you off.
Oh, okay. That's good to know because
It's been healed.
yes. Am I going to go backwards again? No, you don't go backwards, but I said I want
to go back to where you were because you've already done a lot of work. You don't go back to where you were. but you do fall backwards a little bit because you have not reached that healing. So the part of you that is not healed yet, that's what's coming in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm like,
So
I'm
that-
just so
if you come back
anxious
and heal that, you
because I'm
won't.
focusing, but I'm not the same. I'm not the same that I was like just a few months ago. I was like totally a different person, and I feel like
Yeah,
I can't even concentrate so much, like
yeah. A lot of the same behaviors because we think we can logically figure this out. And it's not logic. It's a healing process. So you healed a bunch. There was stuff that was not healed yet. So you left. Now you were brought back. That's a gift. Now you have an opportunity to come back.
maybe because I'm thinking the whole time I have to do something. I have to reach out to the right place, the right thing, because I didn't. I'm thinking the whole time it's bothering me. I said I can't go back to this therapist just like this. And how do I cancel the second week, or what should I do, or how do I
Well,
have write a letter, write a note, explain myself? Why do I have to explain myself? I shouldn't have to explain myself, right?
well, who has the one life? You or the therapist?
Who has the what?
Who has your life? You or your therapist?
Oh, right. It's my life, right? She's just listening. Or she asked me,
If
I diagnosed you as anxiety week after week. That's when I'm like diagnosing you, but I'm like, I don't know. But then how's that helping me? And how's that helping me if I felt like I was being made fun of?
well, I think you're answering your own questions, correct?
Yeah.
Well, you know how to get back. We're here for you if you want, and we can continue the healing where you left off.
Okay. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for asking. Okay. The previous caller who answered before was a previous or two before. She says she thinks that the best win from the program is that my worst enemy was feelings, and now it's what I'm looking for. Wow. Amazing. Incredible. So all of you who asked for members to speak, you got, and 82, we'll take your call and then we'll end with that. And once again, we will be here in 2 weeks. If you want to find out, once again, if you want to find out more about the program, 845-400-9466. You can just text in. I would like to find out about your program. And one of our coaches will talk to you. You do not have to listen to the webinar because you were here. So usually we require that you listen to our free webinar first before you can set up a time with one of our coaches to speak to you. So you don't have to do that. You can just tell the office at that number, I was on the Mindful Mondays, and I would like to find out more about the program. The consultation is free, no obligation. So anybody who's interested, 845-400-9466. Again, just text in or call, leave a voice message. I want to find out more about the program. I would like to set up a consultation with a coach. That's simple. 82, yes, you have a question.
Yes, thank you so much. I really was amazed by the awareness. I definitely feel that there are 100 things that can make me happy, and I'm in general a very happy person, but I cannot exactly distract myself from seeing the child miserable and just staying the same happy. I definitely believe that
what was the thing? You can't allow yourself, and I missed that.
No, there are many things that make me happy, and I am generally a happy person.
Okay.
And it's not always depending on adults around me, meaning I'm happy generally with my adults and the family around me and my past. I have wonderful parents, and I'm grateful to everyone around me, but I do have a child that's usually always feeling deprived or unhappy, and I can't help myself that it takes a lot of my heart.
You're talking about you have a
Eat-
child that's like that?
Yes. I find that although I'm surrounded with happy people and I have a beautiful past, it takes a center of my heart. Why?
So this child, how old is the child?
This child is my oldest of 10,
How old?
26.
So your oldest child is 26, okay. And
And I Baruch Hashem have a beautiful family and I have lovely past, beautiful parents. I mean, my father's not alive anymore, but whatever. I mean, I have only what to be grateful for. And why does this take a great portion of myself?
so your oldest child
Yes.
is unhappy or is what?
Yes, always feeling the lack of, always is not a happy person in general, and it bothers me. It takes a lot of my heart. How can it not, I just say, I'm not dependent on adults to get me happy. I have wonderful friends, wonderful past, wonderful people. Why does this take such a big place of my heart?
Okay. And you have other children, yes?
Yeah, wonderful kids, yes.
Okay. And this oldest child is still living at home?
No, she had a past. She was remarried. I'm not such a simple, it was complicated, yes.
Okay. So it sounds like a more private conversation about your daughter. She's married now?
Yes.
Okay. You're in this program or you're not in the program?
No, but I've been listening in on several of I got the hang of it and I enjoyed it very much.
Well, it sounds to me like your daughter was brought up in a home, your home. There's something that caused her to be this way. And in order to do that, it could be a multitude of things, a variety of things. It could be something that we call epigenetics. It could be something that was passed down through the generations, through your DNA, from your mother's DNA, and from her mother's DNA. It goes down.
So my mother is a radiant, positive, happy person.
One second, you're not listening to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's very possible that it was passed down through the generations. It's not about blaming, and you're very defensive and protective of your parents. You keep perseverating about what wonderful people they are. We're not talking that anxiety, emotional neglect is not blaming somebody, is not criticizing them. So there is a large portion of you that is protecting your parents. And when somebody protects somebody to that extent, it usually means that either they are blatantly in denial or they are unaware of the effects of what happened. And they're afraid to admit that it's possible that something happened. So if your child is this way, it's not random. It's not. Now, she's already.
Of course, so I should take the blame. It's not, that's what I'm saying. I'm raised in a very happy home. I have a bunch of siblings. We're very positive, happy people, but in general nature. So I take it like, how come I've raised a child that's never really happy? I mean, I'll bring heaven and earth together. I don't know if she'll very much be happy then.
If it's really, really bothering you the way it is, humans do not do random. There is some disconnect here along the way. Something. Either a predisposition from your daughter through epigenetics, some dysfunction in the way that you and your husband created an environment or your home, or something that was passed down from either your parents or your husband's parents. You
So I'll
can,
make another note here that might be very helpful. Everyone is skinny in both of our families, and this child was believed at a certain age where she was obese.
okay. So this proves my
So she
point.
was singled out as being heavy. She chose to be sweet. I don't want to, So I'm like, there were a lot of factors that I wasn't in control of, or I could blame myself, but I don't know.
I'm not
I
trying
don't
to,
know if
so I'm
I
not,
don't know how I could have done better because we
I'm,
did everything. Like, yeah,
yeah. So I'm not here to blame or criticize, and I hope you're not taking it that way, even though I hear that you are, because you're getting defensive, which I can understand. I firstly, I want to correct something. I made a mistake. I firstly want to validate you and your feelings. It must be very difficult to have a child, as a good-hearted person as you are, having somebody who is struggling. It's very hard for a parent to see that. So I
yes.
apologize that I skipped that part, something that I'm usually better at, but I didn't. I'm a human being. I make mistakes.
No,
So
I understood. I'm fully aware that you have understanding, and I know that you just didn't take it for granted. Like, you know that my feeling is real, and it's not. I'm not here to.
no,
I'm
but
not saying this to be pitied or to be. I'm just saying, why was it taking such a portion? I'm better today, but it took a portion of my
absolutely.
life. That my other kids are close enough to tell me. I have more married kids, and they could tell me, "Mommy, you're doing everything you can. You still didn't heal from her." They tell it to me.
Yeah. So again, I really am validating your feelings, and I hear your frustration. And my question to you is, do you want to heal from this?
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. I do want to. I've been through so much therapy with this child where I've paid a portion of my life, and I haven't seen a damn change in her. So I developed a certain being very cynical to open up and let go, especially like now I open up to an aunt, to a cousin, to a good friend, but like to a therapist, I'm like, oh, come on. I've been there, I've done that. I don't know why.
So I'll repeat my question. Do you want to heal from this?
Definitely.
Okay. First of all, she's over 18, correct?
Sure.
She's already has her own family, or she's right. She left the home. She doesn't live at home.
She lives in my heart, in my bank, in my
Just
everything besides for being physically here. I'm
second.
accountable for her insurance, for whatnot. Like, I worry for her every single day.
1 minute. Let's keep it focused, okay? She's not living
Yes.
at home, correct?
No.
Now
But she visits the extreme, so she's here every weekend, like pretty often. Yeah.
okay. I'm not saying that you don't have a good connection with her. I'm just saying that she's not living at home. I'm just trying to understand, okay?
Right, right. She's married. She lives, yeah, they're on their own.
And you're trying to be as supportive as you can, correct?
Sure.
Okay. Because you sounds like you haven't really gotten to the source of the problem in itself, I would venture to guess that the frustration is that you may not be aware that you haven't forgiven yourself, possibly, or you're blaming yourself, possibly. And because of that, that you're not sure how to help her, even though you would love to help her. And when a person is in that predicament, many times that individual, usually a parent, or a spouse is enabling the person instead of empowering them, causing more frustration. Does that make sense so far?
Very much. And I'm asked this question again and again. The child comes to me like they
So,
move in a lot. They're
So
moving a lot. So I should say, I'm not ready to take you.
1 minute. So I'm going to tell you. Since your child is over 18, you are no longer responsible. I didn't say you're no longer her mother. A mother is always a mother, right? We always
Right.
have. You will always be your mother. You will always be your daughter's mother. And nobody can ever, ever, ever take that away from you. Whether, and I'm not saying this is the case, but I'm just saying in general, whether your child feels that you are motherly to her or not, cannot remove the fact that you are her mother. Nobody can ever, ever, ever take that away from you. Make sense?
Sure.
You will be her mother until your last breath on planet Earth. You were gifted to have this child. And you have been given the responsibility to raise her because the Abisher trusted you to raise this child. That cannot be taken away,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Now, this child has gone through something that caused her, and we're not sure what it is, right? To overeat,
Right.
to act differently, and not turn out the way you have desired and you would love your daughter to turn out, correct? So far.
Right. It's both in physical and emotional. I didn't get into all the aspects.
I get it.
Live in a very from Hasidic community, and she doesn't look like that at all.
1 second.
Yes.
I'm not judging you, and I hope you're not taking it as such. I'm not criticizing.
Right.
Don't answer your question. I don't judge. I have nothing to judge. I'm just being honest with you. There
Right.
is something that happened in her childhood that caused her, for whatever reason, and I said it could be epigenetics, it could be that it passed down. In other words, it could have nothing to do with you and your husband at all. It could be it was passed down. However, the fact that you're tearing your hair out and it's ripping your heart out, that we can heal. I promise you that if and when you decide to heal that, your relationship with her will improve and she will have a better chance of healing. However, the way you are now and describing the situation right now is counterproductive, both for you and for her.
Although we speak every day, and although she visits every week and moves in for the Shabbosin.
Doesn't
Like, you
matter.
think
Listen,
it doesn't matter?
no. Baruch Hashem, she's...
So we have a great relationship, and my husband even has it better with her.
Beautiful.
To be
That's
exact, really.
That is wonderful.
Yes.
But I believe...
I mean, I think my husband tolerated more than me in a certain sense. So
what
yes, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. Yes.
What I believe and what I'm hearing is happening is that despite your best intentions, you're enabling her. Not that you want to. It's only natural that you're going to do that. And the frustration is that you keep trying to figure it out and you keep hitting a roadblock because you haven't yet uncovered the source. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense?
Makes sense, but I don't know how a mother can, like, shut her heart off from that. I wonder, okay, if I can get through this. If I can get through this, I'll announce it. Don't worry.
Again, I didn't say to shut your heart off, did I?
You said that I will be overcoming it rather
Yes,
triumphantly. Like, yeah,
I didn't say that you're going to shut your heart off. You said that. You perceive that because a person in the predicament that you are describing only understands either A or B. Either I'm totally involved and she's ripping my heart out, or I'm totally neglecting her and avoiding her, and that's the only way that I'll be calm. Correct? That's what you are thinking. True?
true.
I didn't say.
Also a person that can never say no,
Oh,
basically.
well, that's a big problem. That's a big problem.
So maybe I have to get to learn that first.
A person who doesn't know how to say no, we call that people pleasing. And people pleasing is extremely detrimental to two people. One, the person who's doing the people pleasing, and the one who's receiving it. So this just
Right.
confirms.
So it's astonishing how my other kids turned out to be. They're nice. Like that's a miracle.
No, yeah, Baruch Hashem. But I'm telling you that if your oldest daughter is like this, they are affected as well. Because whenever somebody
Really?
has a sick sibling, it affects that person.
I don't know if you call it sick. You call it sick. I don't know how to. Actually, I don't know how to define it. Right?
Well, I was an overeater. I was obese. I was over 300 pounds. I was sick. I had a food addiction. I was an overeater. I've kept my 100 pounds off for over 20 years.
That's how I actually got into the program. I was listening a little to the weight thing.
I'm sorry?
That's how I started. I was listening to the weights, the first webinar when you gave weight, a lecture on the weight. That's when I listened in. And I got into this emotional part.
So you know my story a little bit. So I'm telling you,
A little, yes.
my siblings are affected because of how I was. Not that I caused them, but it's only natural that if a person has a sibling, that there's a problem, it affects the whole family. It affects the environment of the home. So I'm telling you that it's not over. Baruch Hashem, your daughter is very young, and there is hope. However, you as the mother, if you want to heal and correct the situation, then that is my recommendation. And it can be healed. But that's why I asked you, do you want to heal from this?
Certainly.
Well, if you want to be healed from this, our program will heal you from that.
Okay.
I don't know the future.
Thank you so much.
I'm not a Navi. But I can promise you, you listen to the other people, right? I didn't tell them how to speak, right?
Right.
It will.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes,
It will.
It will.
So my recommendation, if you want to heal, call the office, leave a message. We'll get back in touch with you. And we'll talk to you about what we can do. And I really do. I really empathize with you. I really do. It's difficult. It must be really, it's probably more harder than you even imagine it is, even though it is harder. And it's affecting you and your family and your other children in ways that you are not even aware of, that you can't even imagine.
So my married kids get close enough to tell me, Ma, you gotta get this over. And you have to tell her no. She can't be here every weekend. But they do, and I appreciate it, that they could tell it to me.
They are not necessarily going to say it because they learned from you to not say no. So they could also be people pleasers and they could also be enabling because that's what they learned. So they're not going to say it. So they're not going to say it to you. I'll say it to you.
Do you think it's a normal thing to say no to a child, but they want to come?
Do I think, again, it's another thing, what?
A mother should shut her door when her daughter wants to come.
Again, you went from one extreme to the other. I didn't say that at all.
Okay.
I didn't
Okay.
say to stop telling your daughter to come over. Did I say that?
No, you're probably gonna say to limit it or whatever.
No.
I don't know how to do that. No?
No,
Okay.
you don't know what I'm going to say. Because you don't understand the process. I'm not going to
Right.
say anything.
Okay.
We don't talk about behaviors. Having her over or not having over is not the problem. That's not the problem.
Well, it definitely triggers something sometimes when.
Yeah, I understand. I understand that, but that's
Okay.
the problem.
Right.
The goal is to not get triggered, correct?
Right.
That's what we will heal. Whether she shows up or not has nothing to do with you being triggered. Nothing.
Baruch Hashem, I know friends that have daughters like mine that never show up. So I don't have that challenge. My daughter comes very often. Or maybe too often. Okay.
Again, listen, I understand it, and I know that you're grappling and trying to find a solution.
Right.
And I empathize with you. And it's very difficult to be in that predicament as a mother to witness this. And I'm telling you that the
Right.
only way to heal this is to first heal you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And okay. So you know how to get in touch with us? I wish you really much
Yes.
luck.
Amen. Thanks.
Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. Great questions, great concepts, great. We will be back here in 2 weeks. Again, Mindful Monday on Tuesday. This is totally free. Tell your friends. You don't have to, if you don't text in the word mindful, you can share how to come and join the session. We will be here again in 2 weeks on the 20th, and we'll see you then. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for those who were vulnerable and unmuted and asked questions and shared. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a good night. Take care, everybody.